I'm going to show you guys how to turn this into this. So let's get the semantics out of the way. This is my first YouTube video. Thank you for joining, and I really appreciate that you found this video. So it is my first video. Gonna be a lot of stumbling around, but I do want to get straight into it. So this is my August bullet journal. So starting out, we have our cover page. You're gonna see me color this in, but before I drew this, I didn't even know I was gonna make a YouTube video. Very impulsive decision. So I didn't record the process of me drawing it. But this page is supposed to set the tone for your journal, give you a little inspo, some direction, and just show your character, your personality. I know some people don't like to touch their front page, they like to leave it blank, but I'm personally against that. I like to use this page to set the tone for the month ahead, the 6 months, year, however long. Now moving into our guide, this is definitely in the top 3 most important pages. No matter whether you have a year-long bullet journal, month-long, add a guide page. It's going to help you so much to not have to refer back to each individual page just to get measurements. So I have measurements for half a page, a third of a page, for all my boxes. It just really helps to have it all in one place, and this journal is going to last me 6 months, so it'll be easy to refer back to this. I've seen some people do cutouts where you can kind of slip the page out and use it, so if you're like halfway through the journal, it's easier. I haven't tried that. I'd like to in my next journal, but so far this is just a really easy way to put everything in one place. So another thing to keep an eye out for, each page has the same amount of grids, but because of printer errors, I've noticed some of the dots that separate the grids are a little bit closer to the edge, some are further, so it might look like you have 1 or 2 less grids. So keep that in mind whenever you're making your guide, because I know some of you like to get those exact measurements, and that's one of the things that I got annoyed by the end of this guide. But I also included like something in the corner for my mood or my month in pixels. And yeah, so moving on to that, this is my month page where I include my month in pixels, my quote of the month, and a couple other things like my goal of the month and monthly spendings. It helps to just be able to look at this and get a little idea of what the month will look like and how it looked when I refer back to this page. It's not absolutely necessary to make this. Some people just like to do the month at a glance, which you'll see in a couple spreads ahead, but I love the aesthetic of this. I think it's really nice to not set the tone for the journal, but just start the month off right. And having a month in pixels is amazing. Some people like to do a year in pixels or 6 month in pixels, and they take up like half a page doing it. I prefer to keep it month by month because at the end of each month, I refer back and reflect on my journaling, and it's cool to see, oh, okay, like I've had a pretty great month or a pretty bad month, and then I can go back to those specific dates and figure out why. Maybe I didn't really have that bad of a month, I just didn't get much sleep, or I didn't drink enough water. That's kind of like the point of why I started bullet journaling. It's a way to micromanage yourself. At the end of the video, when we do a flip through, I'll go back and fill out all of the word of the month, goal of the month, all those things, so you can see how it looks in practice. But moving on to our next page, we have a tarot spread. Now, this is just a personal preference. I know not everyone has the same spiritual beliefs, but I like to include this page because it fits into how my daily life works. You might also notice in the box in the upper left-hand corner, I screwed up, as you do in bullet journaling, and I made the grid 1 box too far. So you'll see me ignore this at first because I'm thinking of what exactly I'm going to do to fix this mistake because I didn't have whiteout at the time. But that's the part about bullet journaling, is you're going to make mistakes. Please don't go into this expecting perfection. And I did find my workaround. I actually really liked how this page came out. It's one of my favorite in my spread. So you'll see that in a second. But back to what I was saying, everyone has different spiritual beliefs. Some of you might not believe in tarot. You might have different opinions, different values, and that's okay. I still recommend this no matter what your background is having this as like a page to give you a little bit of perspective. Another idea you can do, you can make a sort of monthly check-in on this page where you check how you are emotionally, physically, and spiritually, if that's your thing. But just use this page to give yourself either look at the month ahead or take it as an opportunity to reflect on how the month went. There's a lot of ways to fill up this second page, but our month at a glance is our next section, and this is one I see in most bullet journals. It's a really important one. Now, I see people do it a couple different ways. Personally, I like to just keep it simple. I'll put like a task or two on this for each day of the week, but something I've added to my spread on the right side is a goal tracker. So I have my goal of the month, but in order to not overwhelm myself with that goal, I like to break it down into 4 separate goals, one for each week in the month. That way I can go in and not be swamped by what I have to accomplish. Instead, I can break it down into 1 week and then break that week down into daily tasks. It makes everything easier, and if you're like me and you get overwhelmed really easily, it's a perfect workaround, basically. I've also made a lot of mistakes on this page. The second circle from the left really gave me a run for my money. And again, reminder, you're gonna make mistakes on your bullet journal. This thing is supposed to be more functional than it is aesthetic. Although you can do both, you should always prioritize functionality over a pretty bullet journal. And take it as a learning process. So this page specifically, I made a lot of mistakes. I actually went and invested in whiteout just because I was so ticked off by how this page came out. And I hear some people are like, oh my gosh, that's why I can't journal, because if I make one mistake, then I gotta throw the whole thing out. And I totally get you. The feelings are resonating super hard inside of me too, but take it as experience. And don't make the same mistakes next month. You're going to make different mistakes next month, maybe the same ones, but it's a learning process. And your bullet journal, like you, is supposed to evolve over time. So give yourself grace and don't expect perfection when making this. Because either way, one thing my therapist told me is the mistakes you make while you're journaling actually give you more perspective of where you were at that time. So if you didn't write a lot or you made a lot of mistakes, that really shows your headspace. And I love that perspective. It makes me feel a lot less bad about my mistakes and more introspective. So now we have our bar trackers. I have 4. I started out with 3. So my first one is the sleep tracker. When I decided to start bullet journaling, my intention, which you should set by the way, was to micromanage myself and really see like what's going right, what's going wrong. So tracking my sleep and my water gives me super good perspective into my moods. Like, it wasn't that bad of a day, I just drank 1 cup of water, that's why I felt bad. And having this perspective changes the game in terms of mental health and mindfulness. So if you do want to add some bar trackers, I suggest starting out with a sleep and water tracker. This is going to give you a good idea of what you can change and what you can do better. But besides that, I added 2 more. So I have a reading tracker on this page. I try to read 10 pages a day. This month it'll be 13 pages. And it's good to be able to track exactly how much I'm reading, because it's very easy to get lost in your habits. And some days I go multiple days without reading, and since I bullet journal every day, I'm able to look at that and be like, oh crap, like, okay, let me get back to it. Let me catch up on my reading. And my goal for the month is, or my habit for the month, I'm sorry, is meditation. So I decided to hold myself accountable by making a meditation tracker, which is similar to the last 3 you've seen, where I just track how long each day I'm meditating. And I think this is going to work really well in holding me more accountable. It was also really easy to create these graphs. They're already measured in my guide at the front, so no problems there. But now we're moving on into my favorite part of the bullet journal, is the habit tracker. This will change your life. If you don't want to commit to a bullet journal fully, or you don't want to include a bunch of spreads, this is the number one most important one to include. I suggest it for everyone.
I started off last month, so mind you, last month was my first month bullet journaling, and I did it in like a smaller journal. I didn't want to like overcommit. So last month I only set 7 habits, and this month I have 13. So start small, start big, but just start somewhere when it comes to making a habit tracker. I would add things that you already do, things you'd like to do, and don't put too much expectation on this. One of my habits is having less than 6 hours of screen time, and I definitely get reminded every day that I don't do that, which is a good motivating factor for me to end up hopefully changing the habit over time, because I really want to have under 6 hours of screen time. I think that's a big dilemma in my life. And this page, I went a little extra. I just wanted it to be more, not inviting, I don't know the word I'm looking for, but I wanted this to be one of my favorite pages in the bullet journal aesthetic wise, because it's my favorite page functionality wise. So I add some plants and just some nice accents to pull it all together. Now I did forget to go through and do all my grid spacing, but you'll see that at the end of the video. And next to this we have my quote of inspiration. You're gonna have some empty pages in your bullet journal, because some pages are double spread, some are single spread, so that's the issue I ran into here. And I decided I wanted to fill in this page with something artistic, but also something functional in some sense. So my word of the month is focus, and a sneak peek into the tarot reading of the month. It was all about evolution and new beginnings and self-growth. So I actually wrote this page before I did that, and it's just very divine that everything this month is pointing to self-focus and growing. And I wanted this page to give off that same vibe, hence all the greenery, all the plants, all the life and growth in it. And I assume most of you are here for the more aesthetic side of bullet journaling, but in case some of you are completely new to it and you're just looking for something more functional, these pages are totally unnecessary. If you're just looking to make something that's functional where you can micromanage yourself, you don't have to add all these fonts and colors and designs. You can make it extremely simple. Just kind of take the foundation of each of these pages and run with it. That's the most important part of bullet journaling, is focusing on yourself, growth, and evolution. So I'm excited to see how this impacts my life. Just doing it for 1 month, it's totally changed the game. There was so much I was unaware of that I was just letting slip by behind the scenes, and it also really helps for setting goals in what I want to change. I just encourage everyone to try out journaling to some extent and see how it impacts you. Everyone's journey is different, and over time you'll figure out things you like, things you don't like, but it all starts with giving it one shot. Now moving into our final flip through, I already went ahead and filled out everything. So for August, my word of the month is focus, my goal of the month is planning for Fashion Week, and my new habit is meditation. I also went through on my tarot spread, which you can see on my TikTok or Instagram for the full monthly reading, but I went ahead and filled out a couple details on that page. I also went through and did my first month in pixels, which is basically my mood board for the month. Had my first great day. And speaking of the month, we have the month at a glance. Now I went ahead and added something to the first day, which I did complete. I did my digitals, which applies to my overall goals, which I split into 4. So besides that, the page might look different. I did a couple things. So I invested in whiteout, and I went through the top and the sides and got rid of some of the lines that I just was not really vibing with. Invest in whiteout, it'll be your best friend. But this page looks good. I don't know exactly how useful it's going to be because I didn't have this in my last bullet journal, so we'll see. All right, now one of my favorite parts. So I slept, oh my gosh, how long did I sleep? I went to bed at 2 and I woke up at 8, so 2 till 8, but I did go back to bed at 9 until 10. So I'm gonna skip a spot and fill that in. And I filled up my water bottle twice and had 2 cups of water. So I had about 8 cups of water. Boom. And that's all we do here. I read 10 pages today, and I meditated for about 20 minutes in total. Boom. My favorite part, I was so excited. So, boom, did skincare. I did read today. I'm journaling right now. I did exercise. I have my outfit planned for tomorrow. I cooked today. I did do art, which was posted on the It's Ikigai Instagram if you haven't checked that out. I did not do under 6 hours of screen time. I will hit this by the end of the month, I promise. But I wasn't on games for more than 2 hours or at all. I posted daily, did that. I spent time outside. I meditated, and I was technically up before 8. I'm gonna give it to myself today because I was up before 8, or at 8, but I did go to bed. I woke up not feeling super well, but I'll give that to myself today. So, boom, pretty solid day. I almost knocked out every single habit. Screen time is something I have to work on, but I'm proud of myself for almost nailing 13 habits today. That's amazing. What you focus on will grow. So here's my 3 in my mood tracker. So we're gonna go ahead and go through that. That is how it feels to go through my bullet journal. Doesn't take me that long. So I'm gonna do one last flip through to end the video. So we have our inspiring front page. We got, I will fill this out another day, but where I track all of my goals. Got the guide. Have our first great day. New habits meditation. Preparing for fashion week, and our word of the month is focus. Did our tarot reading. Tap into my Instagram to get more on that. Such a good reading. Did my digitals, by the way. That was a really important thing for my first goal this week. Slept okay. Oh, I did forget one part. So after my sleep tracker, I also put over here whether I woke up tired or rested, and I woke up tired. So I put a little T right there because I was super tired when I woke up. Drink a decent amount of water. I try to get over 8 cups though, but that's not bad. I read my goal amount. I want to start reading more than 10 pages, but at least 10 a day is good. Meditating for 20 minutes is solid. I didn't expect that much on the first day, but today again has been great. And we did all of our habits except for the pesky screen time, which we will nail by the end of the month. I promise that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining me on my bullet journal journey. I hope this inspired you, and I hope you get out there and make your own, or at least make that habit tracker.
Thank you guys so much for watching. It actually means the world to me that you came across this. If this is your first time bullet journaling, I hope this video helps you out. I hope it inspires you. And stay tuned at the end of the month for my flip through, and next month I'll have a similar sort of video where I show my September bullet journal. But either way, thank you so much. I appreciate you sticking through to the end.